They said humans only talk big, so I proved them wrong in her room tonight. The alien world of Valoria was painted in violet skies and silver sand. Towers of crystal stretched high, glowing with strange blue energy. The air shimmered softly with power. A planet proud, strong, and ruled by women warriors. Into this strange world came a human. Ethan Cole. A soldier, a survivor, and perhaps the only man ever allowed to stand before the Valorian Queen. Before the story begins, dear listener, if you love mysterious worlds and human courage among alien stars, don't forget to subscribe to this channel. More adventures like this await you. Now, let's begin. Ethan's boots sank into the smooth silver dust as he followed the guards into the royal hall of Valoria. Every eye turned toward him. Hundreds of alien women, tall and elegant, their skin tinted with shades of blue and gold. Their armor shimmered like stars. Whispers spread across the hall. Is that really a human? He looks small. Earthmen are weak. Just talk. At the end of the hall sat Queen Alara, powerful and calm. Her 3 daughters stood beside her. Arya, the eldest with sharp violet eyes. Nyla, the quiet one with silver hair. And Ceres, the youngest, her smile hiding mischief. Ethan stopped before them and bowed slightly. Ethan Cole of Earth, reporting as promised, he said. His voice was steady, confident, but his eyes scanned the hall, aware of every gaze, every whisper. Queen Alara leaned forward. So, the human soldier who saved the frontier base. We expected more. A few of the alien guards laughed quietly. Ethan only smiled. I'm not here to impress, Your Majesty. I'm here to help. That simple answer made the Queen raise a brow. Few dared to speak so plainly to her. Arya stepped forward. Her armor gleamed like firelight. Help? From a human male? She tilted her head. Tell me, Earth, man, what can you possibly offer Valoria? Ethan met her gaze. Respect and strength when it's needed most. That made her laugh. The sound echoed through the hall like music and thunder. You talk big, she said. But we've heard that before. Humans talk. Valorians act. Her sisters laughed too, whispering between themselves. Nyla said softly, Maybe he believes his words. Ceres grinned. Let's test them. Ethan stood silent, hands behind his back. His calmness seemed to disturb them more than anger would have. He didn't argue. He didn't boast. He only watched them and smiled faintly, like someone who knew more than he said. That smile lingered in Arya's mind even after the feast began. Later that night, in the glowing palace corridors, Arya walked with her sisters. The crystal walls reflected the moon's light, painting their faces in silver. He's different, Nyla murmured. Different? Arya scoffed. He's quiet because he's afraid. Or maybe, Ceres said, he's waiting, like a hunter. Arya frowned. She couldn't stop thinking about his eyes. Calm, steady, and strangely human. No fear, no arrogance, just quiet fire. When they reached their chambers, Arya stopped suddenly. I want to see what's behind that calm face, she said. Let's call him, tonight. Ceres laughed. What? Bring him here? The human? Nyla hesitated. That's not allowed without Mother's order. Arya's lips curved into a confident smile. Then it's not an order. It's a challenge. The sisters looked at each other, and one by one they agreed. A message was sent through the palace channels, short, direct. Come to the upper chamber at midnight, if you are truly brave. Midnight came. Valoria's twin moons glowed high above the glass towers. Wind whispered through the palace halls. Ethan walked alone, following the faint light of a blue crystal torch. His mind was calm, though he could sense the danger in every step. He wasn't sure if this was a meeting, a trap, or something in between, but curiosity and pride pushed him forward. He entered the chamber. 3 alien women waited there, Arya, Nyla, and Ceres. The room was huge, filled with floating orbs of light, strange ancient symbols, and a faint hum of power that vibrated in the air. Arya crossed her arms. "You came," she said. "Not many men would walk into a room of 3 warrior sisters at night." Ethan smiled slightly. "You invited me. I'm just being polite." Ceres giggled. "Polite? You might regret that word soon." Nyla tapped a control on the wall. The ground shifted. Glowing lines appeared, forming a perfect circle around Ethan's feet. "What is this?" Ethan asked calmly. Arya stepped closer, eyes glowing faintly. "It's a Valorian trial, a test of courage and truth. If you pass, you'll earn our respect. If you fail, you'll leave Valoria forever." Ethan looked around. Seems fair. He stepped fully into the circle. The light brightened, humming louder. His heartbeat matched the rhythm. For a moment, he could feel the energy crawling up his legs, scanning his body. Arya's voice softened, almost teasing. "Still sure you want to prove yourself, human?" Ethan met her gaze. "You wanted me to prove something, right? Then let's start." Arya's smile faded. She hadn't expected that answer. Outside, thunder rumbled across the violet sky. The storm began to gather, heavy rain mixed with flashes of lightning. Inside the glowing chamber, the human stood ready, surrounded by 3 powerful alien sisters watching his every move. Nyla whispered, "Maybe he's not all talk after all." Arya didn't reply. Her eyes locked on Ethan's face. For the first time she felt something new, curiosity and a trace of fear. The challenge had begun. He entered the chamber. 3 alien women waited there, Arya, Nyla, and Ceres. The room was huge, filled with floating orbs of light, strange ancient symbols, and a faint hum of power that vibrated in the air. Arya crossed her arms. "You came," she said. "Not many men would walk into a room of 3 warrior sisters at night." Ethan smiled slightly. "You invited me. I'm just being polite." Ceres giggled. "Polite? You might regret that word soon." Nyla tapped a control on the wall. The ground shifted. Glowing lines appeared, forming a perfect circle around Ethan's feet. "What is this?" Ethan asked calmly. Arya stepped closer, eyes glowing faintly. "It's a Valorian trial, a test of courage and truth. If you pass, you'll earn our respect. If you fail, you'll leave Valoria forever." Ethan looked around. Seems fair. He stepped fully into the circle. The light brightened, humming louder. His heartbeat matched the rhythm. For a moment, he could feel the energy crawling up his legs, scanning his body. Arya's voice softened, almost teasing. "Still sure you want to prove yourself, human?" Ethan met her gaze. "You wanted me to prove something, right? Then let's start." Arya's smile faded. She hadn't expected that answer. Outside, thunder rumbled across the violet sky. The storm began to gather. Heavy rain mixed with flashes of lightning. Inside the glowing chamber, the human stood ready, surrounded by 3 powerful alien sisters watching his every move. Nyla whispered, "Maybe he's not all talk after all." Arya didn't reply, her eyes locked on Ethan's face. For the first time, she felt something new, curiosity, and a trace of fear. The challenge had begun. The thunder outside shook the palace walls. Lightning flashed through the crystal windows, painting the chamber in white light for a split second. Then darkness. Then the hum of power again. Ethan stood inside the glowing circle. Around him, the alien symbols moved like living fire. Ancient words from a forgotten age. The air was thick, charged, and heavy. Every heartbeat echoed like a drum. Arya's eyes glowed faint purple as she activated the controls on her arm plate. "Trial 1, reflex and endurance," she said calmly. Nyla and Saris stepped back, their faces serious now. This wasn't a joke anymore. From the ceiling, hundreds of small light orbs appeared, floating quietly. Ethan looked up, his instincts sharp, soldier training ready. But even he wasn't prepared for what came next. The orbs began to move, fast. They darted through the air like streaks of lightning, firing beams of energy. Ethan dodged left, rolled, and ducked under a beam that scorched the floor beside him. The smell of burning stone filled the air. Arya crossed her arms. "Not bad, human," she said softly. "But this is only the beginning." The orbs moved faster, double the speed. They changed direction mid-air, predicting his movements. The glowing ring around Ethan pulsed brighter, making it harder to see. One of the beams grazed his shoulder, a flash of pain, then smoke rising from the burn. Ethan didn't flinch. He stood straight again, breathing hard but calm, eyes focused. Saris whispered to Nyla, "He's fast, faster than any human should be." Nyla nodded slowly. "He's reading the patterns. He's learning." Inside the ring, Ethan crouched slightly, moving his hand to a small device on his wrist. It looked like a piece of broken metal, old Earth tech. He pressed it once. The veins in his neck glowed faint blue. The orbs fired again. This time, Ethan moved before they did. He ducked under one, rolled across the floor, and kicked another into the wall. It shattered into sparks. Arya's eyes widened. "He's syncing his body with the attack rhythm." Ethan muttered quietly. "Neural reflex. Link. Still works." The battle continued. The orbs formed patterns, circles, spirals, trying to trap him. Ethan jumped, slid, and twisted through the storm of light like he'd trained for this his whole life. Sweat dripped down his forehead, but his focus never broke. One final orb came straight for his heart, faster than anything before. Ethan raised his arm just in time, catching the blast against the metal brace. It exploded in blue light, throwing him back into the wall. The circle flickered. The orbs froze in mid-air, then vanished one by one. Silence. Only the sound of Ethan's heavy breathing filled the room. He stood again, burnt, scratched, but alive. Arya stepped forward, eyes narrowing. "You survived trial 1. Her tone was mixed. Disbelief, and something else. Admiration. Ethan gave a half smile. "You call that a warm-up?" Saris laughed softly. "I like him," she said. But Arya wasn't smiling anymore. She walked closer until she stood face to face with him. Her voice dropped lower. "That device. What is it?" Ethan looked at his wrist, then at her. "Old human tech. Neural link for soldiers. It makes reflexes faster, just for a few minutes. But it burns the nerves if used too long." "Dangerous," Arya said. Ethan shrugged. So is standing here. Her lips curved faintly. Half challenge, half respect. Nyla moved toward a second console on the wall. "Then you're ready for trial 2, she said quietly. Ethan raised an eyebrow. "There's another one?" Arya replied. "There are 3. You passed the first with your body. Now we test your mind." A strange energy began to fill the chamber. The symbols on the floor rearranged themselves into a spiral. Blue mist rose from the ground. Ethan felt it in his head, like whispers crawling through his thoughts. Nyla's silver eyes glowed. This is the mind synchronization trial. It links thoughts, emotions, and memories. If you resist, it hurts. If you lie, it burns. Ethan frowned. Sounds fun. She smiled gentle. Yen, you won't think so soon. The mist surrounded him, and in seconds, his vision blurred. He wasn't standing in the chamber anymore. He was somewhere else. Flash. He saw Earth. Burned cities, smoke rising, soldiers running through broken streets. He heard voices, his squad, his commander shouting orders, explosions in the distance. Then he saw faces, the people he lost. Ethan's heart pounded. No, he whispered. And then, another flash. He saw the 3 alien sisters, their childhood on Valoria, their training, the wars they fought, the cold eyes of their mother, the Queen. He could feel their emotions, pride, pain, loneliness. Arya gasped. He's inside our memories too. Saris clutched her head. It's not supposed to be both ways. The lights flared bright. The synchronization had broken the rules. Instead of reading Ethan's mind, their minds had merged completely. Now, they could all feel each other. Arya's anger, Ethan's guilt, Nyla's sorrow, Saris's curiosity. Everything mixed, chaos of emotion. Then Ethan saw something, deep in Arya's mind, an image of the Queen. Queen Alara, standing in the shadows, speaking to her guards. The human must not leave Valoria alive. Ethan's eyes widened. He tried to pull back, but the psychic energy locked him in. He saw more. A secret plan, a hybrid army, experiments on humans. The truth burned through his mind like fire. Nyla screamed, "Stop the link! He's seeing too much!" The chamber exploded with light. The circle shattered. The psychic wave threw everyone backward. Ethan hit the floor hard, gasping. The sisters fell beside him, trembling. Arya looked at him in shock. "What did you see?" she demanded. Ethan looked up slowly, his voice low. "Enough to know. I was never your guest." Arya's eyes widened. You saw Mother's mind?" Ethan didn't answer. He stood, bruised, bleeding, but his gaze wide, as sharper than ever. The room's lights flickered. Outside, the thunder rolled again, louder this time. The challenge had turned into something darker. The game was over. Now, it was survival. The storm outside still raged. Lightning crawled across the violet sky like angry veins of light, shaking the palace windows. Inside the chamber, silence ruled, broken only by shallow breaths. Ethan stood at the center of the ruined circle. Smoke rose from the cracks in the floor. The glowing marks were fading, burnt out. Around him, the 3 alien sisters were still recovering from the shock of the psychic blast. Arya pressed a hand to her temple, her breathing rough. "That wasn't supposed to happen." Nyla knelt on the ground, eyes wide. "He saw everything, even Mother's thoughts." Saris looked between them, frightened. "Then he knows." Ethan's gaze lifted slowly. His face was pale, blood trickling from his nose, but his eyes, calm and cold. "I know enough," he said quietly. "Your queen never planned to let me leave alive." Arya stiffened. The words hit like a blade. "She's my mother," she said. "She rules for the good of Valoria." Ethan took one step closer. Then why did she hide the experiments? Why build an army using human DNA? No one spoke. Thunder cracked again, echoing through the marble corridors. For a moment, even the wind seemed to hold its breath. Arya walked closer until she was only a few feet away from him. Her armor shimmered faintly under the broken lights. "You shouldn't have seen that," she whispered. "I didn't want to," Ethan replied. "You forced me into it." Their eyes locked. Tension thick between them, neither blinking. Behind them, Nyla and Saris exchanged uneasy looks. Saris broke the silence first. "Sister, what do we do now?" Arya didn't answer. She only looked at Ethan, studying him like a puzzle she couldn't solve. "You shouldn't even be standing," she murmured. "The mind link should have torn you apart." Ethan's jaw tightened. "I've been through worse." He turned toward the exit, but the doors sealed themselves shut with a hiss of energy. The sisters flinched. "The system," Nyla said. "It's locking us in, automatically." Arya touched her wrist console. "Override code." Before she could finish, the room lights went dark. A new sound filled the air. A deep hum, metallic and alive. From the wall behind them, panels slid open, revealing hidden drones, floating spheres covered in crimson light. Arya's eyes widened. "That's impossible. Those are royal sentinels." Nyla gasped. "Mother activated them remotely." Saris clutched her staff. "She's trying to erase the evidence." Ethan stared at the drones as they pointed their weapons toward the four of them. "Guess she doesn't care who survives," he said bitterly. The first drone fired. A bolt of red plasma streaked across the room. Ethan pushed Nyla aside just in time. The blast hit the wall, leaving a molten scar. Arya drew her twin blades, curved, glowing with blue plasma, and charged forward, slicing one drone clean in half. Ethan ducked behind a pillar, scanning quickly. He counted at least 10 of them, maybe more. "Cover me," he shouted. "Cover you?" Arya yelled back. "With what?" He pulled a small metallic sphere from his pocket. "With this." He threw it into the air. The device emitted a high-pitched sound, a pulse that distorted the energy field around them. The drones froze for 2 seconds, just enough time. Ethan sprinted across the floor, grabbed one of the fallen drones, ripped off its core panel, and rewired a circuit using a cable from his arm brace. Sparks flew. He slammed the core to the ground. It exploded in a shockwave of blue energy that knocked half the drones out of the sky. Nyla watched in disbelief. That was human tech. Ethan smiled grimly. Rebuilt from scraps. Humans don't need fancy power, just timing. Arya sliced the last drone apart, breathing heavily. The smoke cleared. The chamber looked like a battlefield now. Burned walls, shattered glass, energy fading. Only the sound of rain against the windows remained. Arya lowered her blades. "You saved us," she said quietly. Ethan shrugged. "For now. But she'll send more." Saris looked toward the sealed door. "If Mother wants you dead, she'll never stop." Nyla frowned. "Why, though? Why fear one human?" Ethan hesitated before answering. "Because of Project Helios." All 3 sisters turned toward him. "What's that?" Arya asked. He exhaled slowly. "It was Earth's last defense before the collapse. A human-AI hybrid program. Only a few soldiers were chosen. I was one of them." Arya stared. "You're saying you're part machine?" Ethan nodded. "Part. The neural link in my body wasn't built for reflexes. It was built for war. It can adapt, learn, and rewrite itself when I'm in danger." Saris whispered, amazed. "That's why you survived the mind link. You're not fully human." Ethan looked down, voice low. "No. And that's exactly why your queen fears me. Because if my code connects with her systems, it could override them. I could shut down her whole empire." Arya's expression changed, from disbelief to realization. You could destroy Valoria. Or save it, Ethan said softly. Depends on who holds control. Silence stretched again. The sisters looked at one another. Fear, confusion, and something new. Nyla spoke first. If Mother learns you're Helios, she'll kill you before sunrise. Ethan nodded. Then I better not be here when the sun rises. He turned toward the broken window. The storm still raged outside, wind whipping through the glass shards. Lightning flashed across the city, revealing the endless towers of Valoria below. Arya stepped forward. You won't survive out there. The storm is ionized. It kills human lungs in minutes. Ethan smiled faintly. Good thing I'm not all human then. She caught his arm before he could jump. Her grip was strong, but her voice trembled. Why did you come here really? She asked. Was it revenge or curiosity? He looked into her glowing eyes. I came here because I thought peace was possible, because someone had to try. Arya's hand loosened. Something in his tone, calm, tired, honest, made her chest tighten. He stepped onto the ledge. Rain hit his face, cold and heavy. Below, the energy streets of Valoria shimmered like rivers of light. Arya's voice cracked behind him. Ethan, wait. He turned slightly, rain dripping from his hair. What? If you're right about Mother, she said quietly, then you'll need help. He frowned. You're going to betray your queen? She shook her head slowly. I'm going to find the truth. With you. For the first time since he arrived on Valoria, Ethan smiled. A real smile. Then let's move before she locks down the city. Arya called to her sisters. Nyla, Cerys, stay here. If Mother asks, tell her I'm hunting the human. Cerys nodded reluctantly. Be careful, sister. Nyla whispered. If she finds out, we're all dead. Arya looked back once more. Then let's make it worth the risk. Ethan and Arya leapt into the storm. The wind roared, lightning split the sky as they fell toward the glowing streets below. For a brief moment their silhouettes were framed against the storm, the human soldier and the alien warrior falling together into darkness. In that instant, neither of them knew what waited below, but both understood one truth. The trials were over. The war had just begun. The storm raged across Valoria like a living beast. Bolts of purple lightning cracked through the sky, turning the crystal towers into glowing spears of light. Two figures, a human and an alien, ran across the rain-slick rooftops, chased by the roar of thunder and the Queen's drones. Ethan Cole moved fast, the wind tearing through his coat. His boots hit the glass roofs, slipping, sliding, but never stopping. Behind him, Arya Valora, first daughter of the Queen, kept pace with inhuman grace, her armor shining with raindrops. Left, she shouted. Ethan obeyed, leaping across a gap between buildings. Below, the glowing streets shimmered like veins of blue light. Another drone passed overhead, scanning with red beams. Arya lifted her arm and fired a small pulse. Boom! The drone exploded, raining sparks. Ethan turned his head. Nice shot, she smirked faintly. Don't slow down to compliment me, human. They ran again. Behind them, the palace alarms howled through the city, a high, cold sound that echoed between the towers. The Queen's voice followed, amplified by the city's speakers. Ethan Cole is declared an enemy of Valoria. Capture him alive. Bring my daughter unharmed. Arya's jaw tightened. She's using my title to control the guards. They'll obey without question. Ethan looked at her briefly. Then we stay off the main roads. He spotted a maintenance vent on the side of a tower. Without hesitation, he grabbed the edge and swung himself in. Arya followed. They slid down the narrow shaft, landing hard in the dark. They found themselves in an underground chamber, half machine, half temple. Pipes hummed with blue liquid. Holographic symbols floated in the air, showing maps of the entire city. Ethan looked around. Where are we? Arya brushed her wet hair back, catching her breath. Old power conduits. They run under the capital. No one uses them anymore. Oi. He nodded. Perfect hiding place. For a while they said nothing, only the soft hum of machinery filled the space. Then Arya spoke. You saw what no outsider was ever meant to see, my mother's plan. Tell me everything you know. Ethan hesitated. Are you sure you want the truth? I need it, she said. He exhaled slowly. Project Helios wasn't destroyed. Earth's leaders traded its data to Valoria in exchange for peace. Your mother took it and twisted it. She created hybrid soldiers, half human, half Valorian. They obey her completely. That's why she wanted me here. She needs my neural code to activate the final phase. Arya's eyes widened. Final phase. He nodded grimly. The awakening protocol. It links every hybrid mind into one network, under her control. For a moment, Arya couldn't speak. Her face hardened, disbelief mixing with fear. She wouldn't enslave them. She would, Ethan said softly. I saw it in her memories. Silence again. The truth hung between them like smoke. Finally, Arya whispered. Then she's not ruling Valoria anymore. She's consuming it. A faint beeping sound interrupted them. Ethan looked down at his wrist device, flashing red. Damn it! My neural link's overheating. That last fight drained it. Arya stepped closer. You'll die if it fails. He chuckled weakly. Wouldn't be the first time. She frowned. Stop pretending you don't care. He looked at her. Really looked at her this time. Her armor cracked in places, her face marked with cuts, yet she still stood tall, unbroken. The stormlight flickered across her eyes, painting them in blue fire. Why are you helping me, Arya? He asked. You could have turned me in. You could have killed me. She hesitated, then spoke quietly. Because I saw your memories too. The pain, the loss. And still, you fight. Not for revenge, but for hope. Her voice softened. Valori, a loss that a long time ago. Ethan's chest tightened. He wasn't used to being seen, not like this. She stepped closer again, touching the side of his head gently. Let me help you, she whispered. I can stabilize your neural core, but I need to connect with you, the same mind link as before. He frowned. You remember what happened last time? Yes, she said softly. But this time, we control it together. He nodded slowly. All right, let's try. They sat across from each other, knee to knee. Arya placed her hand on his chest, above the glowing mark where his implant pulsed. He felt warmth spread through him. Strange. Electric. Alive. Focus, she whispered. Breathe with me. The blue mist rose again. The symbols on the walls started to glow, syncing with their heartbeats. Ethan's mind opened. Not violently like before, but smoothly, like waves touching the shore. He felt her thoughts, her emotions, the doubts she hid behind her pride, the guilt of serving a mother she no longer trusted. Arya gasped softly. I can feel your pain, your memories of Earth, of your team. He nodded. And I can feel yours. The pressure, the loneliness, the weight of being a daughter of a queen. Their breathing matched. Their minds pulsed in unison. Then something unexpected happened. The neural link deepened, far beyond calculation. They weren't just sharing thoughts now, they were sharing feelings. Arya's heartbeat echoed in Ethan's chest. His warmth flowed into her body. Their energy fields overlapped, fusing like two lights merging into one. Arya's eyes widened. "What is this?" Ethan whispered. "Something neither of our worlds understand." Suddenly, the lights around them flickered. Violently, the machine systems whined. Nyla's voice came through Arya's comlink. "Sister, can you hear me? The Queen knows. She's tracing your biosignature." Arya's eyes snapped open. "She found us." Ethan disconnected the link, gasping. The glow around them faded. "How far?" he asked. "Seconds," Nyla replied. "She activated the sentinels. They're coming through the tunnels." Ethan stood, pulling Arya up. "Then we move." But Arya grabbed his arm. "Wait, before we go." She looked at him, her voice trembling. "When our minds were linked, I saw something inside you. A locked memory. You were hiding it." Ethan froze. "You shouldn't have gone that deep." "What was it?" she pressed. "Tell me." He looked away. "It's not a memory. It's a fail-safe. If I die, Helios activates on its own and wipes everything within 10 kilometers. Arya's face went pale. "That's suicide." He nodded. "That's war." Before she could answer, a blast shook the tunnel. The wall behind them exploded. Red smoke filled the air and shadows appeared through it. Dozens of armored guards, eyes glowing crimson. Ethan grabbed Arya's hand. "Run." They sprinted through the corridor, chased by plasma fire. Bolts of energy burned the walls, lighting their path in flashes of red and blue. Ethan fired back using a stolen drone weapon. Arya leapt onto a platform, slicing two guards in a single motion. The tunnel's end opened into a massive underground canyon filled with cables and power conduits, the city's energy core. They stopped at the edge of a glowing chasm. "There's no way across," Arya shouted. Ethan looked around quickly, then spotted a maintenance rail running over the pit. "Hold on!" He grabbed the line, pulled her close, and fired his wrist hook. The wire shot forward, attaching to the opposite wall. He wrapped an arm around her waist. "Don't look down," he said. She managed a faint smile. "You talk too much, human." They jumped. The world blurred. Wind, light, thunder. Then a crash as they rolled onto the other side. Behind them, the Queen's guards arrived at the edge, their red lights glowing through the smoke, but unable to follow. Ethan and Arya lay still for a moment, breathing hard. Then she turned to him, eyes glowing faintly in the dark. "What now?" she whispered. Ethan looked up at the energy core above them, a tower of light reaching to the city's heart. Hours passed since the escape. The storm above Valoria was fading, but thunder still rolled across the mountains like a warning. Far beneath the shining city, Ethan and Arya walked through a forgotten tunnel that smelled of rust and power dust. The only light came from the blue pulse in Ethan's wrist device. Arya moved ahead, scanning the walls. Ancient writing covered the metal, Valorian runes mixed with earth symbols. Ethan ran a hand across them. "These markings, they're human letters, modified." Arya nodded. "They shouldn't exist here. These chambers were built long before contact with Earth." He frowned. "Then someone's been hiding something for a long time." They reached a steel door, sealed, humming faintly. A sign etched above it read in both languages, "Project Nexus, Restricted Access." Ethan's pulse quickened. Project Nexus. I've seen that name before. Arya looked at him. "Where?" "In Helios files. It was the sister program, the one that disappeared before the wars." The door opened with a slow hiss. Cold air rushed out, carrying the scent of metal and dust. Inside was a vast chamber filled with floating capsules. Hundreds, maybe thousands, each holding a sleeping form suspended in blue liquid. Arya stepped closer to one pod. Her hand trembled. They're human. Ethan's jaw tightened. No, not exactly. He pressed a panel. The pod lights flickered on, revealing a woman, human face, but alien veins glowing under her skin. Half human, half Valorian. Arya's voice cracked. Mother said she ended the experiments years ago. She lied, Ethan said softly. These are hybrids, unfinished soldiers. She's been growing an army down here. They walked deeper. The further they went, the more terrifying it became. Some pods larger, filled with strange mechanical limbs and eyes that shimmered like stars. Then they found the central terminal. A hologram came to life, projecting the Queen herself. Her calm, commanding voice filled the chamber. To the next generation of Valoria, perfection is not born, it is engineered. Humanity offers instinct, we offer control. Together, they will build the empire eternal. Arya's face drained of color. She planned this even before I was born. Ethan stared at the code streaming beside the hologram. His neural implant reacted automatically, translating the data. What he saw froze him. Primary source: DNA, Ethan Cole, Project Helios Prototype 01. He stepped back. No, that's not possible. Arya turned sharply. What is it? He swallowed hard. These hybrids. They're made from me. From my DNA. Silence fell like a blade. The machines around them hummed louder, as if listening. Arya shook her head. But you're human. How could she? She got my blood years ago, Ethan said bitterly. When I was captured during the truce, I thought they only took samples for study. She cloned me. He looked at the thousands of pods. That's why she needed me alive. The code in my neural core is the master key. Without me, her army sleeps forever. Arya's hands curled into fists. So this was never about peace or alliance. She wanted to build gods. Ethan nodded grimly. And she'll wake them soon. A loud chime echoed through the chamber. The hologram flickered, replaced by the Queen's live image. Cold eyes, voice sharp as metal. You've seen too much, my daughter. Arya froze. Mother. You were meant to rule beside me, the Queen continued. But you side with a failed species? With a man built for destruction? Ethan stepped forward. You used both our worlds, Alara. You turned peace into slavery. Peace is an illusion, she said calmly. Only control endures. The hybrids will end all war by ending choice. Arya shouted, You're killing everything Valoria stands for. No, child, I'm saving it from Ness. The hologram expanded, revealing countdown numbers across the chamber walls. Activation in 600 seconds. Ethan pulled his pistol and shot the console, but the hologram remained. You can't stop destiny, human, the Queen whispered. You are destiny. The feed vanished. Arya turned to Ethan. She's activating them now. He nodded. Then we stopped the signal. He connected his wrist brace to the terminal. Lines of alien code scrolled fast. If I can override her command, I can shut them down. Arya placed a hand on his shoulder. If you do that, won't she track your neural code? She already is, he said. We just have to finish before she sends more guards. She watched him work, his face calm under the blue light, sweat running down his neck. The sound of the storm echoed faintly above, mixing with the hum of machines below. Almost there, Ethan whispered. The screen flashed. Override denied, access locked to Royal Gene Code. Arya stepped forward. That means, "It needs your DNA," Ethan said. "You're her bloodline." Without hesitation, she drew her blade and nicked her palm. The glowing blood dripped onto the console. The system scanned it, beeped, and unlocked. Access granted. Ethan smiled faintly. Good teamwork. Then the floor trembled. The pods nearest them began to shake. One cracked open, releasing a hiss of vapor. Inside, a hybrid slowly opened its eyes, pale, blue, and identical to Ethan's. Arya gasped, "By the stars!" The clone stepped out, steam rolling off its body. Its voice was calm, mechanical. Primary source detected, synchronizing identity. It looked directly at Ethan. "You are obsolete." Before Ethan could react, the clone moved, fast, faster than human reflex. A punch sent Ethan flying into a wall. Arya charged forward, slicing with her twin blades. Sparks flew as the clone caught both blades with bare hands. "Stay back!" Ethan shouted, grabbing a fallen cable and jamming it into the clone's chest. Electricity burst, lighting the chamber. The creature screamed, a sound like a machine tearing itself apart, and collapsed. Ethan fell beside it, gasping. Arya knelt beside him. "Are you hurt?" He shook his head. "Only my pride." She managed a quick smile, but fear still shadowed her eyes. "If one woke up, more will follow." Ethan looked at the terminal. The countdown was now 300 seconds. "We can't stop the activation," he said, "but maybe we can redirect it." He typed rapidly, rerouting signals. "If I send the code through my neural core, it'll create a feedback surge, shutting the entire chamber down." Arya caught his wrist. "That will kill you." He looked at her gently. "Someone has to pull the plug." "No." Her voice shook. "There must be another way." He smiled faintly. "There's always another way. It just hurts more." The countdown hit 60 seconds. He placed her hand over the control switch. "When I say now, press it." Her eyes filled with tears she didn't understand. "Why are you doing this, Ethan?" "Because you showed me that not all aliens are enemies. Some are worth dying for." Before she could speak, he connected the cable to his implant. Light burst from his body, blue lightning crawling across the floor. The pods began to shatter, sparks flying as the system overloaded. "Now!" he shouted. Arya slammed the switch. A blinding flash filled the room, then silence. When the light faded, every pod was dark. The clones lay still, smoke rising from the melted machines. The chamber smelled of burnt metal and ozone. Arya stumbled forward. Ethan lay on the ground, motionless, the blue light in his veins fading. She dropped to her knees beside him. "Ethan, please." His eyelids flickered. "Did it work?" She nodded, tears falling. "Yes, they're gone." He smiled weakly. "Good. Then maybe the galaxy has a chance." She gripped his hand. "You can't leave me now," he whispered, barely audible. "You said Valoria forgot hope. Don't let it." His hand fell still. Arya bent over him, silent. Around her, the last of the stormlight filtered through the cracked ceiling, shining softly on the man who had saved 2 worlds. Then a faint sound broke the silence, his wrist device blinking again. On its tiny screen, Helios reboot initiated. Her eyes widened. "No, Ethan." The blue light returned, faint, pulsing under his skin. He wasn't gone. He was changing. The chamber still smoked from the blast. Blue light flickered across the broken pods like dying stars. Arya knelt beside Ethan's body, her armor scorched, her hands trembling. His skin was cold, but under it, a faint pulse of light moved, like something sleeping inside him. "Ethan," she whispered, "come back." For a long moment there was nothing, only the hum of the ruined machines and the echo of falling water from the ceiling cracks. Then the pulse quickened. His chest rose once, twice. The faint glow spread through his veins, brightening with every heartbeat. Arya gasped, "You're alive." Ethan's eyes opened. The irises glowed a soft blue-white. When he spoke, his voice carried an undertone, human warmth, mixed with a quiet metallic harmony. "I'm still me," he said, unsure. Arya touched his face carefully. "What are you now?" He looked at his hands, watching the light fade back into normal skin. Something between human and machine. Helios rebuilt itself through me. She exhaled slowly, torn between fear and relief. "Then we have no time. Mother will know." As if answering her, the entire chamber shook. Distant explosions rolled through the tunnels. The Queen had unleashed her sentinels. They ran again, up iron stairways that spiraled toward the surface. The wind grew louder with each step until they burst out onto a high platform beneath the open sky. The storm had passed. Dawn was rising over Valoria, painting the glass towers in gold. Ethan leaned on the railing, breathing hard. "Beautiful," he murmured. Arya stared at him. "You just died and came back, and you're admiring the sunrise?" He smiled faintly. "Guess I missed the light." For a second, everything slowed. The wind, the morning glow, her heartbeat. She reached out, fingers brushing the scar on his cheek. The touch made him close his eyes. "When I thought you were gone," she said softly, "I felt like part of me vanished too." He opened his eyes. "You said once, Valoria forgot hope. Maybe that's why I'm still here, to remind you." Her voice dropped to a whisper. "You already did." The space between them disappeared. Her forehead rested lightly against his. No words, just the steady rhythm of two hearts finally in sync. The energy around them hummed, responding to the connection. Faint lines of blue light coiled around their hands like living threads. Ethan whispered, "It's happening again. The link." Arya shook her head. "No, this isn't the machine. This is us." The moment shattered when a beam of crimson light struck the tower beside them. Explosion, heat, and metal fragments scattering into the air. They dove for cover. Arya's communicator buzzed. Nyla's frightened voice came through. "Sister, the Queen has activated the Royal Guard. Half the city is hunting you." Ethan glanced toward the palace on the horizon. Energy cannons glowed along its walls. "Then we take the fight to her." Arya stared. "That's suicide." "Maybe," he said, standing. "But every second we wait, she rebuilds her army." She stepped beside him. "Then you won't face her alone." They stole a small sky skimmer from the docks, a sleek craft meant for royal patrols. As it lifted into the air, the city below shimmered in the early light, unaware that its fate balanced on one fragile alliance. Inside the cockpit, silence stretched between them, heavy but comfortable. Ethan checked the controls. Arya watched him. His movements were faster now, precise, almost too precise. "You're changing," she said quietly. "I know." "Does it hurt?" "Not yet, but I can feel here." Leos whispering, showing me patterns, strategies. It wants control. Arya placed her hand on his arm. "Then hold on to something stronger than code." He turned to her. "You?" She looked away, but a small smile touched her lips. As they neared the palace, lightning barriers flared to life. Ethan closed his eyes, letting the new part of his mind calculate the gaps. 3 seconds between pulses, he said. "Hold tight." The skimmer dove through the storm of light, weaving between energy bolts. Alarms screamed, but they made it through, landing on the Queen's private terrace. The great doors opened as they approached. Queen Alara waited, clad in black armor, a crown of silver fire above her head. Her eyes burned with both pride and fury. "So," she said, "my daughter returns with the weapon that was meant to serve me." Arya stepped forward. "You call him a weapon. I call him hope." The Queen raised her hand. Power rippled through the air. "Then hope will die with you." Energy bolts struck. Ethan moved faster than thought, his body a blur of blue light. He caught one blast with his bare hand and hurled it back. The floor trembled, the walls cracked. Alara laughed. "Impressive, but you're not human anymore, are you? You're mine." Helios's voice echoed faintly inside Ethan's mind. "She is correct. Command protocols detected. Surrender control." He gritted his teeth. "No." Arya saw his body flicker, blue and white light fighting across his skin. "Ethan, stay with me." He dropped to one knee, struggling. "She's trying to take over Helios, through me." The Queen's voice thundered. "You were created from my design. You belong to Valoria." Arya rushed to him, grabbing his face. "Listen to me, Ethan. Look at me, not her." Her touch steadied him. The blue light steadied too. Their connection, heart sync, burned brighter, pushing the Queen's control away. He stood again, eyes blazing. "You made me from your code, but you forgot one thing, Alara. Humans choose." He raised his hand, and Helios's power surged, not as a weapon, but as pure light, the Ene. Argy struck the Queen's armor, shattering the control nodes on her chest. Alara fell to one knee, disbelief on her face. "You would destroy the hand that created you?" Ethan stepped closer, voice calm. "No, I'll destroy the fear that rules you." Arya moved beside him, her sword glowing with the same blue energy now pulsing through Ethan. Together, they crossed their weapons, the symbol of both worlds, and the chamber filled with blinding light. When it faded, the Queen lay unconscious, her power broken. The palace alarms fell silent. Outside, the dawn finally touched the highest tower. Arya looked at Ethan. "It's over." He shook his head. "Not yet. The hybrids will wake if we don't rewrite their code." "Can you?" she asked. He smiled faintly. "With you, yes." She took his hand. "Then let's begin. Together." Hours later, the two stood on the palace balcony, overlooking the calm city. The clouds were parting. Sunlight spilled over the towers. Ethan's glow had faded to a faint shimmer beneath his skin. He looked tired, but peaceful. Arya rested her head against his shoulder. "Valoria owes you everything." He smiled. "It owes you, too. You believed in a human." She laughed softly. "I still do." Their hands intertwined, the light between their fingers merging one last time. It wasn't the energy of machines now. It was something older, quieter, human. Below them, the city stirred back to life. Above, the sky cleared to perfect blue. But far beneath the palace, deep in the ruins of Project Nexus, a single pod flickered with light and opened its eyes.